Hello, it is Thursday, March 9th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Thursday puzzle today, which means we will have some kind of interesting or intricate theme, and I can already see through the gauzy privacy veil that we have sort of an unusual grid with some barred divisions, not just the full-on black cells, so that's interesting. We'll get to that momentarily. This interesting barred edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Victoria Rojishka, Kathleen Quinn, Cortidiophile, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Showmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support for bringing us this series, and thank you to all of my patrons for supporting the channel and helping keep this whole thing sustainable. I do very much appreciate that. If you'd like to help yourself, help me through contributing yourself, you can go to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video. And as a benefactor, you can get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. And as a patron at any level, you can get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And yes, thank you to everybody who's done so. Oh, that reminds me, yes, yesterday I put up another acrostic puzzle. So acrostic puzzle from Beyond the Grave. So I think I mentioned this at the time, but this is the first I've put up. I ended up on the very last day, the acrostic puzzle was still solvable on the New York Times website. I went back and I solved a whole slew of them. So I filled out my archive from 2022. So I have half a dozen or so of those ready to go. So I posted the first of that batch yesterday to the Patreon if you're interested in that. All right, let's get on to the puzzle. Do also subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. Thanks to everybody who has. And you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field to that as well. All right, so now let's solve this. This is a puzzle that was constructed by Simeon Siegel, who's constructed around half a dozen puzzles for the New York Times. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving. Interesting. So I wonder what will be going on here with these barred. I mean, that doesn't necessarily need to mean anything. It just separates two answers. There are some puzzles where the entire grid is constructed only of these bars rather than black cells. I don't know if the New York Times has ever published such a thing, but themed cryptic crosswords in the UK are sometimes use bars rather than black cells, like the listener crossword is a good example of that. Anyway, what slackers do vis-a-vis non-slackers? Work, I suppose? Is it as simple as that? Colombo organization. Oh, I don't know. It's probably a police department. You know, I've actually never seen Colombo, believe it or not. So I don't even know which sort of organization he works for. Well, color from the French for unbleached. I don't know what the French for unbleached is. Color from the French for unbleached. Oh, écru maybe? That's a kind of off-white color. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know why that would mean unbleached though. Doesn't seem like it would. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going around here. Music genre from Tokyo. J-pop maybe, Japanese pop. And singer at the Biden-Harris inauguration, familiarly. Was Jennifer Lopez there? Was J-Lo there? I don't know, maybe. Something a loafer lacks. I'm wondering if it means, yes, the shoe, a loafer, a laceless shoe, a slip-on men's shoe. It doesn't have to be a men's shoe, but traditionally it would have been. Singer Bono's given name. I don't know. I don't know Bono's given name. And Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, e.g., are an octet. So there's 7 dwarfs plus Snow White makes 8, an octet. There we go. Sauce traditionally made in a mortar, pesto. I think the name itself points towards that because it has to do with sort of, pounding. Defeat in a 100-meter dash. Oh, wait, wasn't that also? Yes, that was also the clue here. Oh, interesting. So is this bar not actually separating these clues? I suppose this is a single clue. Right, okay, I didn't realize. I guess I didn't notice that there wasn't a number here in this cell. Let's see. So to out Well, it says defeat, not defeats, but there's an S here. Can I go out on a limb here and wonder if the answer to this is printouts? Because this could be out sprint. So the thing you do in a 100-meter dash is sprint. And if you defeat somebody, you could say to out sprint them. So we've swapped the out and the print bit as opposed to the out and the sprint bit. So it's not sprint out, it's print outs, which is itself another kind of compound word. I think that might be the answer. I mean, thanks to the O and T that I suspected that. Let's see. Oh, Paul maybe is Bono's given name then. And clear for entry, let in. If you let somebody in, you clear them for entry. That's so interesting. Okay, so the bar has nothing to do with splitting up the answers except that it shows us where the new division of the compound word is from the starting point that was clued. All right. Well, let's see if that helps here. Colombo organization. Okay, so it is going to end with PD. That's what I thought. It seems like he would be from like Philly or something, but I have no idea. I'm sure that was a ridiculous statement to anybody who's seen Colombo. Color from the French for unbleached. Or maybe it is ecru. Narrow could be thin, maybe. And one way to get baked. I mean, getting baked could mean, it could mean in a sense of getting high. It could mean in the sense of being tan. I'm wondering about tan because there's an N right here. Or sun, maybe. Neither of those really works. Thin might be wrong. Organization involved in the landmark Loving versus Virginia case of 1967. Was it the ACLU? I don't know. I feel like something's wrong here. Big-eared star of a 1941 film Dumbo, the elephant. Okay. I think this is going to be a crew, I guess. I think this is the ACLU as well. Narrow is slim. Okay, so this is coming together. Oh, LAPD maybe? What's that? Slackers do vis-a-vis non-slackers. I do not. Why can I not think of what this is? Oh, rest. Oh, sorry. I was thinking of it the other way around. Oops, sorry about that. You must have been very confused when I put work in there. I was literally reversing it in my mind for some reason, somehow. RAPD. I don't know. I don't know where that is. I wonder if I hope that's right. One way to get big. Oh, this doesn't seem right either. What slackers do. I don't know. I'm going to have to come back to it. Sorry about this. Place for a six-pack. One's torso. And it may extend a hand. One's arm does that. Petulant pout could be a moue, or from the French, kind of an upset expression. Applies the first row of loops to a knitting needle. Hooks on, maybe? I think that might be right. Something's on. Let's look at the N. Like R-rated pics in brief. Can't think actually starting with the N, so maybe that wasn't right either. Realtor's objective. Well, something houses. House sales. I can't think what the other word would be. Well, let's see. One way to get baked. A sun bath? There we go. Because that would work with houses here. Don't know what the other half is just yet. Okay, so what do slackers do vis-a-vis non-slackers? Less. Oh, right. Oh, it is LAPD for Colombo. Okay, so they do less than non-slackers do. That's what the vis-a-vis is doing. We're actually comparing what they do. It's not saying what slackers do sort of as opposed to non-slackers or something like that. It's saying what they do vis-a-vis non-slackers. So it's saying what they do with respect to or relative to non-slackers is they do less than the non-slackers do. Okay. That was very clever, and I completely missed it until the absolute last moment. Okay, let's move on. Blank Cohen, spy portrayed by Sacha Baron Cohen in 2019. Oh, that's interesting. Eli, maybe? I'm trying to think of a name that would fit in 3 letters. It's a bit higher than a D. It's a bit higher than a D. Oh, an E flat, a musical note. I see. Okay. There we go. So I bet this is Eli. And like R-rated, oh, not safe for work. I was wondering what on earth would have SF in the middle of one word. It's NSFW, an acronym for an initialism, I guess, for not safe for work. And then, so this is something's on, and then here, start of a golfer's action. A wide stance. But these are, yeah, these would be the opposite. The clues are the sort of pre-flip versions. So it wouldn't be a wide stance, which would presumably be actually answered by the clue. Not sure. Yeah, I can't think of what this would be. Smooth in a way, sand something. Wind. Neutrogena dandruff shampoo. Oh, no clue on that. Like eyes beneath a prominent brow. Deep set. Yes, if your brow is very prominent, that might create the effect of deep set eyes. Yeah, still don't know about that shampoo. Top number in a time signature. The number of beats in it. So, 3/4 time has 3 beats, which is the top number written on the musical notation, and then the bottom number tells you what kind of notes there are 3 of. So the 4 would refer to quarter notes. So 3/4 time has 3 quarter notes per measure. All right. Inform is to something, and start of a golfer's action. Wind backs? Backwinds? I don't know why that means anything about golfing. Okay, how a jet stream typically flows. Oh, I can't remember if it's west or east. It's one of those, which is why flights tend to be of different lengths in opposing east-west directions, but I can't recall which. Organization that sells large batteries, ironically. Oh, that's funny. AAA, because it's the American Automobile Association, or the Automobile Association of America, whichever it is. And so they sell large car batteries, but also, of course, AAA is the name of a very small battery. Okay, so how a jet stream typically flows is east, there we go, and publication that's not on paper, an e-zine, presumably, which is one of those things nobody says. But it's an E word, and sometimes it's in the New York Times crossword. Singer Skaggs with the 1970s hit Lowdown and Lido Shuffle, or Lido Shuffle. Boz Skaggs, I've certainly at least heard of. And pub seat is probably bar goes here. So bar stools, yes. Tool bars, right, okay. So that's you have toolbars on computer menus and things, or computer windows. And then we flipped around the tool and bar from bar stool. It's very clever that the S from this sort of full word is split up in that way. It's very interesting. It's not how you'd expect these to go. I need to remember that when I'm trying to think of the originals. Swing, yeah, but again, I don't understand what that swing backs, I guess this would be. Why? I mean, the golfer's action is the backswing. Okay, so that makes sense. I guess because swingbacks actually in this case feels like, no, it's wingbacks. Okay, it is a totally different phrase. I didn't follow my own observation from just seconds ago. I wasn't splitting up the S, so I was keeping the S with, never mind. It's not worth continuing to dwell on. But there we go, wingbacks. And swingback is the start of a golfer's action. All right, good. Let's move on. One component of solar wind, ions, a component of solar winds. I do vaguely remember that, but I couldn't explain to you very much about them. Some glass signs are neon signs. You have neon in glass tubes. And author of 2015's Amazing, Fantastic, Incredible, A Marvelous Memoir. Well, I'm not familiar with this title, but it must be Stan Lee, the famous Marvel Comics writer. And dishes often made with mayo, slaws, coleslaws, etc. And I think the mayo being sort of slightly contracted into another common form is what also lets us do that with coleslaws down to slaws. Pitched as speech, toned, how you toned your speech, how you pitched it, sort of the tone you chose, maybe. Sign-in sheet could be a log, sign-in sheet, e.g. Show from which Pinky and the Brain was spun off. Looks like Animaniacs, which I kind of vaguely remember. I mean, I remember that. I remember both Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs. I don't know that I remembered one was a spin-off of the other, but that makes sense. All right, uneasy feeling is agita. Is it agita or agita? I always forget this because it's sort of similar to the word agitation, and I assume is etymologically similar, but that doesn't necessarily mean we would pronounce it the same way in English. In any case, a reptilian swimmer is a water snake, and wooden skis. Oh, this is not toned, I guess. Oh, right, okay. Is everything else right? Everything else here looks okay. Pitched as speech. Wooden skis are slats. Oh, I misspelled water snake. Sorry, I didn't even notice that. Whoops, that was my mistake. So I guess because I just had this filled in and I didn't really parse that letter. So pitched as speech, tonal, I see. So this is, all right, it's different. Okay, it's not the meaning I said in terms of modulating the tone of your speech. I mean, it is, but in this case, the tone in a musical sense as opposed to tone in a sort of rhetorical sense. So if speech is pitched and has different notes associated with it, then you could say it's tonal. All right, there we go. Applies the first row of loops to a knitting needle. Right, I still am not sure what that is, apparently. Realtor's objection. House. And then a word with 3 letters and plus an S, so 4 letters total. House. Oh, I just still can't see it. Sorry about that. Medic. A dock, maybe? I don't really know if that's right. I don't think it is. Guitar played by Hendrix and Harrison familiarly. I think they played Stratocasters, Fender Stratocasters. I can picture that, at least with Hendrix. Less clear in my mind with George Harrison, who's presumably being referred to there. So anyway, Fender Stratocaster is a sort of it's almost like the classical shape of an electric guitar. If you think of an electric rock guitar, this is one of the 2 most iconic ones, along with, I guess, the Gibson. I can't even remember what the model is. Woof. But in any case, it looks like an electric guitar. Bad guys are foes, maybe. And applies the first row of loops to a name. I'm just so unsure about these. I still don't want to put in that cross. If this were, a medic is an EMT. Okay, yes, so I'm more confident about foes now. All right, good. What about this? German cry, ach, maybe. And word has it, they say, something's happening. Repair specialists familiarly, techs. You could call in a tech to repair something. And a Portuguese holy title. Saint, like Sao Paulo, St. Paul. In that case, the namesake of the city. And biopic. Probably ends with S. Do these all end with S? It looks like they all do. So this probably does too. Something heads, biopic, headshots, head... probably ends with it, heads. Rear ends. And text before a late night call, perhaps. You up? Could be a late night. You might text someone before calling them to be considerate. And then stain is a reputation. Here's our revealer. Opposites or instructions for answering this puzzle's starred clues. Oh, I don't know. Something like, well, phrase would fit here. Opposites, but phrase isn't really part of opposites. Flip sides? Flip sides is a phrase you could use to say, you could use to say opposites, and it's literally what we're doing. We're flipping the sides. We flip the sides of these words. Okay, I think that might be right. Good. Let's check the crosses and see if we can confirm it. This looks like tea gel for the dandruff shampoo. I bet that's correct. Unsafe car seat. Oh, a lap. It's unsafe to simply put a child in your lap as opposed to in a car seat, I suppose. And inform. If you apprise somebody, keep someone apprised. Is that right? Powwow host. Tribe. Slip through the cracks. To seep. Oh, liquid could seep through the cracks, slip through in that way. Partner of nice. Nice and easy is a common phrase. And brain spark is an idea. Some drones, you could have bees who are drone bees. And award for great plays. Oh, right, plays in the sense of in a sports match. So ESPY for named for the for ESPN, the sports network, the U.S. sports network. And then powwow host was tribe. Okay, so referring to sort of native or indigenous, like I guess kind of important meeting, a powwow. I can't think if there were sort of what the specific kind of reasons for a powwow specifically would be, but I think this would be the answer. All right, walker's charge could be a pet, a dog walker or a cat walker, your charge, your responsibility. And whoopee treats could be pies, whoopee pies, that's something. Can't think what exactly they are. Something chocolate, probably. Can't think exactly. But I think that's the answer. Stain his reputation, sully one's reputation. There we go, to stain it. And to take off is to flee. Part of CBS, I think CBS stands for the Columbia Broadcasting System, one of the major U.S. broadcast networks. And rear ends are, duffs. Your rear end, your duff. There we go. All right, so so it is head, so I already thought that, so I'm just going to move on. Played out, if something's played out, it's old or it's dry. Memorable parts of songs, choruses or hooks. Memorable part of a song is its hook often. Fast food chain whose secret recipe includes 11 herbs and spices, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there are about 8,000 hilarious sort of imitations of KFC here in London. There's sort of Louisiana Fried Chicken, and every state you could think of, Missouri Fried Chicken, even some states that don't seem particularly kind of regionally associated with Kentucky. But anyway, they're all over the place, and many of them have logos that look very similar to the KFC logo. All right, red, white, and blue land for short. What ends in FA? Not sure. I don't know. Goodness could be don't know. Okay. Lackluster. Unhip, that doesn't really specifically mean lackluster, I don't think. Much on the line. This looks sort of odd, doesn't it? These two T's. They both seem pretty good, these answers. Private entrance, perhaps. Okay, well, I'm running out of useful crosses. Lackluster and biopic. Okay, can I figure this out? Biopic. Oh, headshots? Hotheads. There we go. So biopic, I guess, I think what this maybe means headshot. So the picture that might be in, attached to a biography or something. Maybe a headshot of the person. Is that what's going on? Maybe I'm missing some more obvious way that headshots mean, or headshot, sorry. Keep attaching the S, but the S is from the other one. Yeah, I think that might be it. And then lackluster, ho hum. And Oh, U.S. of A, the United States of America. Okay, I was wondering if this was going to be something totally different because there are quite a few countries with red, white, and blue flags, like France and the United Kingdom, for instance. So I was wondering if this was going to be some misdirection in that respect, but it sort of was, but in a different kind of way. All right, so much on the line. Not something to lose. I feel as though something, maybe EMT is wrong. Something feels wrong. Played out, old. Okay, so that was one of my thoughts. And goodness, mercy, mercy me, goodness, right? Okay, sort of quaint, light oath. And then private entrance, perhaps, or exclamation at least. Private entrance, perhaps, is a secret door. Okay, right. This wasn't EMT. Medic. Maybe it is a doc after all that. Right, okay. Much on the line is a lot to lose. And then alehouses? House sales. Right. Boy, it's really hard for me to remember the format of how these get flipped around for some reason. And then fasts on, maybe? No, bad guys are... why can I not think of what this is? Lads, fads, what? What am I missing here? Sorry. Cads. A cad is a kind of a scoundrel. And casts on. Okay, that sounds just as plausible as any of my other thoughts. So, there we go. All right, not the smoothest solve, especially towards the end there, but we got there. So this was very clever. So printouts switches around to defeat in a 100-meter dash, say, would be out sprint. So you have to do this kind of funny thing where the S does stay in the same position relative to these letters. This whole thing moves around to the left. I don't know why I kept in my brain that was hard to imagine. I suppose because the S, I wanted to just sort of keep the word plural because I was coming from a verb ending in S, depending on what kind of phrase it was. But I wanted that S to be at the end in some kind of consistent way. But no, it's just a straight flip. This whole thing just flips over there. Out sprint. Yeah, it's well done. Pub seat. We move from toolbars to bar stool. We take alehouses. We flip it around to mean a realtor's objective house sale. And missed this. Our wingbacks change to be the start of a golfer's action, the backswing. Hotheads change to become a biopic, a headshot. And all of these are flip sides. And what we've done to create them is flip sides. So very good. I'm impressed by this because of this sort of movement of the S, because I think it probably would be easier to think of phrases where you just flip the sort of two words exactly as is. Like I was trying to do, I think, here with swing back and backswing. So I was trying to, but without, in that case, you're just taking two separate words essentially and flipping them around. But in this case, the inclusion of the S means you're actually creating entirely new language as part of the, each side of these becomes kind of its own different thing now. It's very well constructed. It's well done. Appreciate that. And nice finds by Simeon Siegel. So well done to him. And that was the puzzle for Thursday. So let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. I did set some comments aside today, so we can go over those now. Craig Horleman corrects what I think is a fairly frequent mistake I've made. The P and PSAT actually stands for preliminary and not practice. So it's the preliminary standardized achievement test. There we go. Thank you for that. I'll try and remember that. Preliminary. Nick Hicks explains that in 1980, Patti LuPone won the Best Actress Tony for the role of Eva Perón, the titular character in Evita. Music by Andrew Lloyd Webber, lyrics and book by Tim Rice. Madonna won the Best Actress Golden Globe for the film version in 1997, so there we go. That was my suspicion, but I didn't know those years, and thank you for clarifying and confirming. Stephen Giblin explains regarding 34 across, the phrase in loco parentis is Latin for in the place of parents, referring to the concept of an institution or organization acting in a way to assume some of the responsibilities of a child's parents. A classic example would be a boarding school that would have in place certain rules or restrictions designed to be in the best interests of the students. And Nick Six adds one tiny clarification that would mean in loco parentis in place of a or the parent, given parentis is singular. Parents would be plural in that case. So thank you for that as well. And then finally, Stephen Kiplin asks, how many more instances will it take for Chris to designate Edie's as the official ice cream of the New York Times crossword? I think that's fair enough. I think Edie's probably is the official ice cream of the New York Times crossword at this point. So thank you for that correct observation. I will try and bear that in mind next time it is clued in the puzzle. All right. Thank you to everybody's comments. Always enjoy those. I'll be back tomorrow for the Friday puzzle when we dispense with these themes and we get down to some straight solving of a themeless puzzle. So look forward to that. Until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.